Greetings, Assassins, and welcome to the Assassin's Creed Council Community Podcast. We are here in the bowels of the Assassin Council where the deep, dark secrets of the Creed are kept and discussed. Today we are joined by some of the very biggest and the best in the Assassin's Creed community, where we're going to be presenting some topics and discussing them for your amusement. Just a brief word of warning, this podcast is exclusive on the Assassin Council site, and during the show there will be giveaways for some very, very cool items given to us courtesy of UbiSoft and their various partners. So let's crack on with the council discussion. Today, like I said, we are joined by some of the very biggest and best in the AC community. First off, we have Assassin's Creed and Ubisoft YouTuber UbiCentral.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for having me on here.
Joining him is the admin of The Ones Who Came Before, Call96.
Hi everyone, thanks for inviting me on.
And then moving on, we have some very, very special guests. I'm surprised they even joined us. Today we are joined by Access the Animus, represented I should say, by Marco, aka Shadow Marcus.
Hello everyone.
And last but not least, we are joined by another podcast series, the Animus Island podcast, represented by Aftermath. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Hey everybody, great to be here.
Okay, we are here. You are the council. The rules of today are simple. Each one of you has brought a topic for discussion, and we are against the clock for each topic. You'll have 15 to 20 minutes to discuss it as a group, and when we reach 0, we will be moving on. That's the rules of the council, that's the law, and it's going to happen. To kick things off, we have our first question, and this one has been submitted by UbiCentral. Take it away. What's your question for the council?
My question is, how did we all get involved within the Assassin's Creed community?
Well, I'll start us off with this one. I kind of got involved through a bit of a roundabout way. I'm mostly well known on the subreddit, so I actually began checking out the Reddit after the release of Assassin's Creed 3, and I actually was talking to my friend about it, and he mentioned that everyone was talking about it on the Assassin's Creed subreddit, and I actually had known a bit about Reddit before that, but it all seemed a bit confusing and it was a bit intimidating because of the way the UI is laid out. It's not exactly the most user-friendly. So after hearing about that and hearing about that there was an Assassin's Creed subreddit, I finally decided to just sit down and get to know the UI and how Reddit works. And I fell in love with it, and I fell in love with the Assassin's Creed subreddit, and I fell in love with talking to everyone about basically everything Assassin's Creed related. And it took me a while to really get in my groove and start commenting quite a bit and become pretty well known, I think. It took me 9 months or something like that of lurking and occasionally commenting. But after that, after getting into it, after AC4's release, I really dug in. I was talking to everyone on the daily, basically everywhere, and then eventually I decided to expand into Twitter, and I eventually created the Animus Island podcast and brought on my co-hosts Aries and McCrackenway to do that, and it's really just been just accelerated from there, and now I'm basically everywhere except the forums.
I started on Reddit as well, actually. So I discovered the subreddit about 3 years back, and then from there I just occasionally dropped a comment under the username Call96, and then I ended up on the Ubi forums. And last year I decided to make a Facebook page, The Ones Who Came Before. And from then I've gone on and done a few projects. And I actually got invited onto the official Assassin's Creed live stream with Justin. So from there, just many projects, and people know me from The Ones Who Came Before.
So, well, Access the Animus was, launched in 2013. So during the marketing campaign for Black Flag. But, all of the team members were part of the community from even before, almost all of us, or I think all of us are fans from 2007. And, we are a big team trying to cover everything about Assassin's Creed, from, news to plot to collector stuff. And, we've been invited to E3 as star players, and then we went to Gamescom too. So we're trying to even provide the fans with big very big coverage as as much as we can. So we try to talk with the community too. So it's not just having a relation with the developers when we have at the conventions, but we had like even interviews with other fans like Rick Boer, the famous cosplayer, and so we try to cover everything about Assassin's Creed, and that's who we are and what we do, kind of.
And yeah, to answer my question, I didn't really intend to like come in this community like that. That wasn't really my goal when I started. Like for my YouTube channel, it was Watch Dogs Central, covering Watch Dogs, a different Ubisoft game. And then after that release, I decided to just like I wanted to rebrand my channel and not just do Watch Dogs. So I thought of just why not change my name to UbiCentral, and I started covering a different amount of Ubisoft games, and then I don't know, I just started really enjoying covering Assassin's Creed the most, and you'll see that's what my channel is mainly made up of, is like Assassin's Creed. I've done like walkthroughs, Easter eggs, that kind of stuff on my channel. So I didn't really intend to like try to be in this community, but I'm so glad I ended up here because it honestly is one of the best communities. I know like a lot of people say that about their community, but it really is true. Like we have so many fantastic people just here in this call. So I'm really glad to be a part of it now.
I could definitely agree with that.
Yeah. Totally agree with that.
I will say though, considering like when you look at your resumes, as it were, like what you cover, of at least Brett, Marco, and Cole, all three of you cover news and updates and articles related to all the marketing stuff to the games. However, when it comes to the difference between Brett and Marco and like Access the Animus, like Brett UbiCentral focuses on video, and where Access the Animus focuses on a lot of written stuff. Like, how do you really keep up with all that? 'Cause, like, I know as far as you go, Brett, I mean, like, you've uploaded videos a lot, very regularly, and you've and your channel's really grown immensely quickly over the last few months. And it's like, how do you keep up with the demand, of keeping up with all that content and producing those written works and those videos over time? I mean, it must be draining at times when you've got so much news to cover.
Yeah, like it's hard to explain because I really enjoy doing what I do, and I've had the pleasure of it kind of being like a part-time job as well. So I'm very fortunate, and like right now there's a lot of news coming out about the Assassin's Creed movie and everything, and like I'm behind on that. So it does get tough at times, but the outcome is just so amazing. And with what Marco does with Access the Animus and the ones who came before as well, I get a lot of my information from them because they're usually like, the fastest people to put out the news, like right after Ubisoft. And then what they do is they'll summarize like all this news and give, the huge details. So what I'll do is just recap what they basically said. So, we actually feed off each other unintentionally, and it's really cool. We both do news, and yeah, we both really love Assassin's Creed.
About ATA, I should to answer your question, Wayne. I would say that if we weren't like a team of like 6 people right now, we wouldn't be able to cover as much or as quick as we do. So I have to say I am blessed to have this team, and I'm blessed to be a part of this team. So and we try even to, there are some of us who are, wake up early, and so they can cover the morning and the news that come out in the morning, and some others are working in the morning, so they can cover the afternoon and stuff like that. So we are kind of organized like that, and that's how we try to cope with the big amount of news, especially during, the big conventions time.
Yeah, so I was definitely inspired by Access the Animus when I started last year, and I just saw there was a gap. There wasn't really a community that did theories as well as news, because most of them just focus on one or the other, and I really wanted to do a bit of both. So that's what I try to do. I do videos when I can, but news as well. So I just do what I can for the community.
Yeah, I will say I think that's one one of your unique points, is that you do a lot of theory work, and some of those really big elaborate theory pieces that you did on Facebook before doing the site are really good. And so yeah, even though you have been doing this for a long time, but as far as keeping up to date on a website, has it been easy transform or changing your format from Facebook to a website, or is it a bit more difficult to try and get used to web management and all that sort of stuff?
I think it definitely takes a lot more time when I'm doing the website. And now we've got an Instagram account, Twitter and Facebook. And I've now got 2 admins. I've got me, Caroline, and my brother when he can. So altogether, we all do bits that we can, but it takes a lot of time. I know I spend hours every day looking for AC news.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think we can all agree where it's like, being as passionate as we all can be for Assassin's Creed and just video games in general, it does take a lot of time. And to be fair, well, one of those big time constraints is obviously production. And Brett is making videos constantly, and even Aftermath with Animus Island, trying to keep that pacing with all those guests. I mean, how do you do that? How do you do that after? Like, do you have it all pre-planned? Do you have it set months in advance? Like, we've all been on the Animus Island podcast prior, but give us a bit of a hint behind the scenes. Like, how does production go as far as keeping up with the podcast?
So basically, the biggest saving thing that we use for the most part is Google Docs. It's massively helpful, and it helps a ton when we're organizing things as a group. We generally like to plan out episodes at least a month ahead, but sometimes it gets down to 2 weeks, and with this latest set of 2 episodes is coming down to a few days, which is it can get rather frustrating at times because of scheduling and helping people that are on different time zones and converting time zones. It gets a bit complicated, but because of how far in advance we plan, we have plenty of time to figure it out. And so it's really not that much of an issue. And I have to say, in terms of scheduling and things like that, Aries, one of my co-hosts, Aries2596, he is a ton of help, because I generally ask the people if they want to be on. I talk with them a bit about what they want to talk about and things like that. But then I just point them in Aries' direction, and then he organizes times and figures out what times works for everyone. And he's basically, I think he probably memorized most time zone conversions now all over the world because of how much he has to deal with that.
So essentially, he's the brains and you're the mouth, basically.
In terms of scheduling,
to a degree, perhaps. One last quick question, as like we all are content creators and we keep on going, the production machine still keeps going. Have you guys ever had a moment of kind of maybe I should slow down, or maybe I should stop doing this? Have you ever had any moments of relapse when it comes to content creation? It can happen when you hit burnout and that sort of thing if you're doing it too much.
For me, it hasn't been for the podcast because of its format. It hasn't happened to me before with the podcast, but it has happened to me with the subreddit. If you look through my history, you'll maybe find like periods where I only commented like once a day for a few weeks or something like that. And then when I get back into it, I'm then commenting 30 times a day. It kind of comes in waves on the subreddit in particular and on Twitter for me, but the podcast, because of its format, has been pretty consistent.
How do you manage with that though, Brett? I mean, like, before you said you have a lot of passion and love for it, but has there ever been a moment where you just thought, oh, like, is it worth it? Have you ever had a moment of burnout where you just thought, you know what, I'll leave this for till tomorrow and I'll come back to it another day. I want a rest day today. Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, definitely, and especially like during E3 or Gamescom, because that's when so much news comes out. I remember E3 this year, I uploaded like 15 videos in one day, and like after that my computer like basically died and everything. But like the next day I just slept the entire day because I was up like 24 hours trying to commentate. I lost my voice, and yeah, it's definitely a lot of work, and people don't realize how much time goes into video editing, audio editing, and all that stuff. They think, oh, you just make a 2-minute video, it must take like 2 minutes to do, but there's so much more to it. And yeah, I definitely have those periods where I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's so much to cover, and like I want to take a break, and sometimes I do, but a lot of the times I just kind of stick with it, and I don't know. I guess that's one of the reasons why my channel is growing, because I haven't quit yet. I've just been doing it for like 2 years now. So yeah, I don't know. I'm really lucky to make videos, and I'm passionate about it still.
Just saying, script writing takes me days just to get a nice script for a theory. I have to check everything, so that's why
Yeah.
mine's recent.
Yeah, definitely. I understand. And like, you want to make it sound as professional as you can, because
Yeah.
you don't want to do just one thing and make it all messed up and like there's no commas or punctuation. It like doesn't look neat. So you want to make, for you, your post as like good as they can be. And for videos, I want to make it as like good as it can be as well, you know?
I definitely
Yeah.
think that a lot of people, video editing and things like that, and especially in video production, and lots of things like this, is actually very difficult for people to understand who haven't tried it before. You know, like as soon as I started to look into what kind of editing software I might want to use and things like that, I was just so overwhelmed. I was like, oh, how did these guys do this? And like, because I have experience with that, I can look at your videos, Brett, and I can see, holy shit, he puts a ton of time into this stuff. But then, but before I got into this stuff, I was just like, oh, well, he just like throws on a template or something like that. And,
Yeah.
you know, you don't quite have an appreciation for it until you give it a try yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely recommend like anyone who wants to make videos for Assassin's Creed or any game, just try it out. You know, you never know what could happen. And I've been fortunate enough to meet community members like yourselves and talk with Ubisoft. Like, I never thought that would happen when I started. So like, you know, just if you want to do YouTube, you can do it. Just put your mind to it, learn how to edit. It does take a while, but eventually you will get there if you're passionate about it.
As Justin might say, do a thing.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
do it.
hashtag do a thing. But keeping on the topic of production rate and burnout, how does Access the Animus deal with that, Marco? I mean, I'm sure the weight of production is a little bit lighter compared to the likes of Cole and Brett, where it's just basically a one or two man crew. Access the Animus is a full team. You know, is it how does the workload and the work balance shift between members? You know.
I will have to say that yeah, being a team is helps a lot when you have like a lot of content that you have to produce. Like we try to have like a specific function for each member of the team, while after deciding that it never happens, like everyone does everything. But yeah, it's easier, but at the same time, I would have to say that maybe we don't feel burnout as in after this I don't want to do this for like 2 months, but maybe sometimes some of us need to, I don't know, rest for the night after having like a day like yesterday, for example. So
Yeah, I've got to say, it's like when you look at the amount of content you did for Gamescom, you know, like you were there, you did all the videos, you did the written stuff as well. I'm sure you got a good couple of days rest after that, and then obviously because you're resting, you've got other members of Access the Animus there to kind of pick up the slack and do what else needs to be done in terms of production.
Yeah, when we go at conventions, it's we try to get organized in a way. Like the members who are at the convention are there to produce the content and then try to send it to the members at home who can work on it. At least when that can happen, like when we have like 2 video editors right now. So if the 2 video editors are at the convention, so they necessarily have to try and do the videos when they are at the conventions, or at least try. But otherwise, like we try to even share the workload even when we're there, and to maximize the content. So when we were at Gamescom, I was there with my girlfriend, Sari, who takes care of the website and recently has tried to do the videos too. And when we were at Gamescom, we had like the task of trying to get as much content as we could. So we could record. We asked Ubisoft if we could record the Q&A sessions, and then we had the chance to have the interviews and take pictures and stuff like that. And then we sent all the content, especially the pictures, during the day to the other members at home who published the pictures almost in real time. So we tried to share the workload, but it happens at time that we still need like a night of rest. But then again, the day after is still we try to still go on and do what we do at best.
And we're going to put a pin in that topic right there. We went a little bit over time. Amu Alan will not be pleased, but it was well worth it because we got to hear behind the scenes stuff.
And this was like the first topic, so we started.
We'll try and keep on board with the next one.
Okay.
Moving on to the second topic of the council, we have Col, who is going to be mentioning something about books, I believe.
That's right. So here's my question for all of you. If you could pick an AC character to be adapted into a novel, who would it be and why?
Oh, good one. Who's got the stomach to come in on that and start with that?
I really don't know. I think that probably the main thing would be just characters who really didn't get enough airtime, and we didn't really get fleshed out enough. And I think the two characters that come to mind immediately would be Haytham and Elise, and both of them have already had novels. So I think that it would probably either have to be like Arno, so it continues on his story from Unity, or maybe even Connor.
Well, Aftermath just mentioned Connor, and that's who I actually picked because he's the best assassin. We all know, everyone loves him. But in all seriousness, like Assassin's Creed 3, at least for me, was like my favorite game of the series. I know some people might have different opinions. Everyone does, That's why video games are amazing. You can like one, hate one. But yeah, for me, it was Assassin's Creed 3, and I loved Connor as a character. He was different from any past one we've seen. So it was cool to see him grow up as like a kid into like this assassin. And yes, he was kind of quiet and everything, but like, could you really blame him? And I feel like we should just get an end to what Connor did, like what happened to him, because we don't know and no one really continued the story. And a lot of people out there, you may not know it, but there is a lot of people out there that want to see an end to Connor and know what happened to him because, some people loved him as a character, and I was one of them. So I'd really like to see that.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
If I had to answer, being a lore guy, like I'm very interested in the lore and the plot that is described through the transmedia and stuff. I was a big fan of Project Legacy, so I would be very interested in having like sort of book adaptation of any character from Project Legacy. I'm specifically a big fan of Perotto Calderon. I don't know if you know this guy. He was like a Borgia messenger, and he has like an entire chapter, an entire chapter on Project Legacy, and he has a very unique story, and so I would really love that, but it will never happen. So
I was just thinking, like, because what immediately comes to mind would be main characters who didn't quite get fleshed out enough. Yeah. But like, what if basically anyone written by Darby? Like, what if like Yusuf? I would really love to read like some about his origins, because he got quite a bit in Revelations because he's like the fun guy and things like that. But I think that even more would be a ton of fun. And like, it's difficult because in something like AC4, a lot of the funniest and fun characters are actually historical characters, so you probably couldn't write a full novel about them without crossing into some territory, some historical fiction territory. And another one would be like Da Vinci in AC2 and Brotherhood. And yet, I'd love to read some more about his character and his version of Da Vinci, the AC version of him with his slight humor and things like that. Yet, we probably won't get something like that because he's a historical character officially.
Yeah.
But that would have been really interesting because he had all this relation with the characters from the game, and he came in contact with the pieces of Eden. So it would have been a nice book.
Yeah, perhaps hearing it from his perspective would have been interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Going off what you said about Darby, I would like to, if they didn't already use the name Assassin's Creed Chronicles for the games, I would really like to see Darby do an Assassin's Creed Chronicles mini-series where it's like, okay, you have like a book and it's just full of little short stories, of all these different characters, and bring in some new characters and you've just got a big chronicle of all these different stories of all these different characters, and it's written by Darby. I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah, I'd just like to correct you for a moment here, Wayne. You actually said Darby, but you forgot to say praise him or praise be his name.
Testify, hallelujah.
But yeah, I think that actually sounds like a cool idea. Just like a series of maybe mini novels or something like that could be a ton of fun. I think that in addition to novels and stuff like that, we could also enter like other transmedia. So we know we're getting the movie, and we might talk about that later. But we also have the graphic novels, which we know we're getting the new set of graphic novels or comics or whatever they're calling them these days. And I think that maybe including some other characters in there to flesh out them a bit more and maybe showcase them in their own graphic novels could be very interesting, or just as interesting or even more interesting than a novel idea. Depends on like if we want a more... Now we're discussing like the merits of graphic novels versus actual novels, but so we won't get too much into that.
Don't dare tread into that water because they're two different mediums. I mean, seriously, don't. But if you want to start expanding stories, like you all pretty much said, well, a few of you said, like Brett and Marco in particular, said, Connor, like, what about you, Cole? Because it's your question. Like, how would you do it? Like, what would you want to see?
Yeah, I think I'd go down the road Marco went down with Project Legacy. I think it'd be Giovanni Borgia for me, just because he came in contact with 3 Pieces of Eden and Consus. I'd love to learn more about Consus, an entity from the first civilization who started talking to Giovanni Borgia from a young age because he was wrapped in the shroud by his father Perotto when he was young. And from then on, he had visions of this man, I guess, like a male first civ entity. And just all through Project Legacy, it was hinted that Consus was guiding him. And I'd love to see like his dreams that he had, Giovanni's perspective. I think that'd be really interesting.
Brett, you mentioned Connor, obviously, because Connor is the greatest. Say you got the chance to write the book, like you got the chance to finish off Connor's story in a novel, like in a novel version. Like, well, what would you do?
Oh gosh,
any stories that you would like to tell? Any bits of missing lore that you could answer?
Honestly, I would just like to see what he does at the end. For me personally, I would just like to see, like, it's hard to describe, but I would like to see like how the assassins end up like with Connor, being kind of like one of the last assassins of his time. And I don't know, I just would like to see what would happen to him.
We've had a few hints about what Connor was doing after AC3 with him recruiting some of the more experienced assassins from around the Americas, and I'd just love to see like how that went down. I hope they're like leading up to something and not just giving us small hints to nothing, but I want to see him meet Isiasawa and Evelyn all in one place, and they're having some big an Assassin's Council perhaps that they might form.
Ooh, nice plug.
And I just love to see that, and I hope we're going to get in a game or something, maybe even next year with the tie into the movie. Maybe there could be some kind of big climactic battle or something.
Same to Marco. Like you said, Connor as well. Like what would you do?
Actually, I would try to if I were a writer, I would like to try to in a book to try to tie in all the little details that were released after AC3. So the few details about the Connor's wife, who was a blonde girl who left him, and we don't know if that is Abstergo stuff or not. And his relationship with the 6 assassins that he recruited, and his relationship with Esiosa, and his story that was fleshed out on Initiates. So I would try to make a book tying in all those little details and try to give a full ending to Connor's story, and especially a defined, as in without any gray areas about him, which is the situation in which we are right now.
Interesting.
And one last thing I would like to see actually is not even an Assassin's Creed character really, but it would be cool to see Aiden Pierce, connect with that modern day, because he did kill, the Abstergo CEO. And it would be kind of cool to see what happens after that. Like maybe for Watch Dogs 2, they'll tell us, but it would be cool to see what happens with Abstergo and Aiden Pierce, since he ended up killing him in like a side mission.
Brett, I have to say that you're like the most controversial person I know. You're like a walking controversy starter.
All right. Well, anyway, I think we're pretty much spent on that topic. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Now we know what you want to write, and we're going to move on to topic 3. And this one is courtesy of Marco from Access the Animus. What have you got for the council?
So I have. I'm going to bring to the council a discussion about the Hidden Blade. The Hidden Blade is like the iconic weapon for the franchise, and I wanted to know if we could discuss about its history and how it changed through history and through the lore, and then kind of think of how it could be in the future, so in future installments or in the present day or stuff like that. So that's what I wanted to. And so, the Hidden Blade was, I did like a little research. And so the Hidden Blade was created, or the first example of the Hidden Blade was shown in AC2 through a statue in the villa in the Assassin Sanctuary. It was Darius the Assassin, a member of the Persian Brotherhood, and he was the first member of the Brotherhood showing a Hidden Blade. But after that, most of the assassins that were shown didn't have the Hidden Blade up until mostly the Middle Ages with the Levantine assassins. So in the beginning, it was the signature weapon for the assassins, but it also had a philosophical meaning to it. It required the removal of the ring finger, and it showed that the assassins had a commitment to the creed by removing their fingers. And this was the first example of a Hidden Blade that we saw in Assassin's Creed 1. And then the first upgrades that were done, they were done by Altair after studying the Apple of Eden. And the upgrades were the hidden gun, the poison blade, and the addition of a second hidden blade. So, for example, so that I don't have to talk all the time, did you like when AC2 came out? Did you like all these kind of upgrades? Were you guys? Was there an upgrade that you didn't like, or you didn't feel close to the Assassin's Creed?
I really liked all the upgrades and the changes that Assassin's Creed 2 brought to the Hidden Blade, and basically to all the assassination tactics. I thought that it added a lot of gameplay. It added a lot of depth to the gameplay, actually, and it made assassinations quite a bit more fun than just walking up behind a guy and stabbing him in the throat. But I thought that the gun didn't quite fit in very well. I thought it was interesting. I liked how they implemented it, but I don't think it quite fit in because of how loud it was. And I also didn't like the poison, although that kind of made more sense. It kind of took away from the ritualistic aspect of the Hidden Blade, where you have to get up close to your enemy and then you use your feather to take a bit of his blood as confirmation that he's dead. And
Yep.
but like killing him from ages away or like making him thrash about on the ground isn't that clean, quick, respectful death that I think the assassins were known for.
I didn't like the gun in AC2, to be honest. I thought it was too slow. Like, I know today I was playing AC2, and a guard came running after me, and I went to shoot him, and you know, it like zooms into a straight line when you're shooting.
Yeah.
It takes a good few seconds.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought it was too
super
slow.
Oh yeah, the aiming time, that
Yeah.
moment of aiming, yeah.
I remember using that in the Brotherhood, and the multiplayer was always hell because of the aiming time.
Yeah.
I think narrative-wise, though, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
To a degree, because it's like when you they when it came to ACB, they improved the hidden gun aiming firing speeds. Like I think even though it was a pain in the backside, like to use it, and it was loud. I think as far as narratively goes, like with Ezio encountering this cannon strapped to his wrist, I think the slow aiming kind of worked. It's like, oh my god, how the hell do I use this? This is like, like kind of aiming it and then closing your eyes and blinking. But you could see that they definitely took that into account in ACB, and then they introduced the berserker darts and stuff.
And you can tell, I like how the gun was implemented originally and how it fits canonically, because Altair built it while he was in exile and then used it when he came back to Masyaf, and he killed the boss with it, and it was like super sick, and I liked how they implemented that. I think it actually fit quite well. I'm just not sure how much I like using it in Ezio's time.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, trivia. When I did my research, I saw that Ezio in AC2, through some concept parts, he should have had like 3 hidden blades, like 2 on his left arm and 1 on the right.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
There are some concepts showing that the blade had to have like a feather shape. And that would have been really cool. Or they even teased like a trident shape for the blade that were just later used with the Brahman for our boss slayer. Yeah, that was.
I think they kind of came down to the idea of like, well, Assassin's Creed 2 has 2 hidden blades, and like Assassin's Creed 3 technically has 3 because like the hidden blade it's like kind of like a double function because it functions as a knife as well, so it could be counted as 3 blades. But I do remember seeing that Assassin's Creed 2 double hidden blade art, and I think that looked really cool. I don't know how it would have worked mechanically, but yeah, I really did like that. Moving on to like you were discussing mechanics. I mean, like when you progress through the games, like do you like the continuous evolution? When we get to Assassin's Creed Unity, for example, we introduced the Phantom Blade. The little crossbow strapped to the forearm. What did you think of the Phantom Blade?
I really liked the Phantom Blade. I think it was really cool, and it really made sense as a progression from the gun and things like that, and from ACB's crossbow into this more silent version of it, and it kind of made sense. And I like that it was exclusive to the French Brotherhood, but I didn't really like the aiming and things like that mechanically. So I liked how it worked in with the story and things like that, but I didn't really like the thing itself when using it.
Yeah, it felt a bit floaty when it came to aiming it, I think. I don't know if that was just like the doing something new, like a free aim of the hidden blade. Although they did the free aim with Assassin's Creed 4's guns, and it turned out all right. I just don't think when they thought, oh, we'll do a free aim on the hidden blade, I just don't think it transcended as well as using the gun. But I think the Phantom Blade was good. Like, what do you think of the Phantom Blade, Brett?
Yeah, like Aftermath said, I really liked the stealth aspect of it rather than, using this loud gun. And do you remember in Assassin's Creed 4 that glitch where I think on PC, if you shot your pistol or something, all the smoke would come out? Does anyone remember that? Like, there was just all this massive amount of smoke. Or it could have been the smoke bomb. I don't remember. But no, I'm serious. Look it up. There is. I'll link you guys after this. But yeah, I really like the stealth aspect. I'm looking dumb, but trust me, there is. I will link it. But Yeah, eventually I would like to see customization to the blade. We were talking about this earlier, but Black Ops does something really well where you can make your own emblems and things like that. It'd be cool to make your hidden blade yours, make it like
Yeah.
what you want exactly and have like all these different attachments.
That
By
would be
like, you mean like a full depth crafting system, like so you can choose to have like the rope launcher, like say if we progress from Syndicate, we can have like the rope launcher or maybe something like the Phantom Blade. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That could be cool, like with different paint jobs and things like that. That could be pretty sick. We know that the Assassin's Gauntlet and Syndicate comes in different colors and like different styles. I don't know how we don't know how much that's like chosen by the player just yet, but we know it's different. So I think that might be heading in that direction.
Yeah, it might be cool if we had the chance to, customize the hidden blade and the gauntlet to have like meaningful repercussions on the gameplay. Like, can you have like if you have like two hidden blades, can you have like a phantom blade on one side and then the rope launcher on the other one? Or I don't know. It would be nice to have this kind of customizations with repercussions on the gameplay. It would add much more depth into the strategy in a mission, I think.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool, and as well, it kind of ties into the new customization system that they brought in with Unity with the gear. Like the different modifiers and the different kinds of outfits that you can get for different play styles. I think using the Hidden Blade as the next evolution of that could be really cool. But I think as far as the Hidden Blade goes, one of the biggest changes in Assassin's Creed, like throughout the franchise, is when we came into Unity and it changed from being an offensive selectable weapon to a tool, really, just to simply assassinate people. Like, what did you guys think of the change? Did you like that? Did you like it going all ham and killing people with it, or did you feel that the more original concept of using it as a symbol and a tool was more better off?
I kind of liked how they took it back and it was more like had more of a ritualistic meaning, and it was only used for the actual assassinations themselves. But I have to say that killing many dudes with the hidden blade, with this teeny tiny hidden blade on your wrist, was very fun. So I think that like the motto of this discussion is like balancing story and gameplay, because from a story perspective, I really liked how they did that and how they went back to the ritualistic meaning. But from a gameplay perspective, it just felt limiting, like they were trying to limit you back to AC1. So when playing the game, it kind of felt like a step backwards.
Yeah, and with like Unity, you can see that's what they were going for. They wanted to make the combat a lot harder. And realistically, if you think about it, like having a hidden blade, like, trying to dodge like all these long swords and everything, it kind of makes sense. But on the other hand, it really was fun, just killing people with it, just whenever. So I would like to see it become a primary weapon again, just depending on how Syndicate's gameplay is like. I mean, if it's like Unity, then I don't really want to see it, as a primary. But if we're going back to like, Rogue's gameplay or Black Flag, then, I think I would enjoy it more if it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree too with that. Story-wise, in my opinion, it's better if it stays like that with the ritualistic meaning to it. So it's the weapon for the assassination. But I am missing to the killing animations with the double hidden blades. Those were really sick.
Do you not think it could be down to character as well, and the way you've been brought up to use the hidden blade? Because I mean, Arno was shown by Belek how to use it, whilst Ezio, it was his dad's. So I think Belek will have shown him as Altair will have used it. I don't know. I think it can be ritualistic, but I think it depends what you want to go for with it.
Yeah. I like the idea of like going back to having it as a tool, but I would like to see it be used as a primary again. I think one of the things that the original Assassin's Creed, got right with Altair, it's like, well, you can select the hidden blade as a weapon, but using it takes a bit of skill. I mean, like, countering. I have vivid memories of trying to counter enemy attacks with the hidden blade, and if you're not spot on that counter prompt, like there wasn't even a prompt. Like, if you're not spot on that counter, you're gonna get hit. So even though it can be used as a primary, I think if they removed didn't bring back the chain combo killings and make the countering and the use of the hidden blade more challenging like it was in the original Assassin's Creed, I think that would be a nice balance between primary weapon and symbolic tool.
I think Jacob's probably very good at fighting with the hidden blade as well. I mean, he's a brawler.
Hasn't Jacob got enough blades though? I mean, seriously, he's got the Gurkha knife. He's got the 2 swords in the cane. He's got the little cane sword, and then he's got the Grim Reaper's scythe at the end of it, and then he's got a hidden blade. Hasn't he got enough already? But anyway, I think we'll see where they take the hidden blade in the future, and I think the idea of a proper deep crafting and customization system tied to the hidden blade is really good, where you get to form a weapon that you want to use and it's tailored for your playstyle, whether it's aggressive combat or stealth or traversal. I really do like that idea. I think that's really cool. I mean, I think we'll just end that on a high note. Now we've reached the midpoint of the podcast, I'd like to take this opportunity to tell you about the giveaway. Now, we have 5 fantastic t-shirts to give away, which were generously provided by Ubisoft and their partners, Insert Coin Clothing and Numbskull. We have 4 Assassin's Creed Unity map t-shirts to give away, designed by Numbskull. The sizes are 2 are in large and 2 are in extra large. And then we have a beautiful female Assassin's Creed Unity Paris Parkour t-shirt, generously provided by Insert Coin Clothing. The size of the female Insert Coin Clothing t-shirt is extra large also. Please note that this giveaway is for UK and European residents only, so if you live outside of the UK or the EU, you can still take part, but you will not be able to win a t-shirt. To win a t-shirt, all you have to do is go onto Twitter and tell us what your favourite Assassin's Creed moment is using the hashtag CouncilPodcastPrize. Make sure you use the hashtag, otherwise your answer will not be submitted. Winners will be drawn randomly and announced on Friday the 18th of September, and then they'll be contacted privately via Twitter DM. Best of luck to you all. Don't forget, tell us what your favourite Assassin's Creed moment is using the hashtag CouncilPodcastPrize. And now, on with the remainder of the Assassin's Creed Council Community Podcast. Moving on to topic 4, this one is submitted by me because it's not fair that you guys get all the fun, and today we're going to be talking about the Assassin's Creed movie. Now, in particular, the recent article released by Yahoo showing Michael Fassbender in the Assassin Ancestor gear, and I personally like it, but I want to know what you guys think of the AC movie and the outfit itself, and what you would like to see in the story and all that good stuff. Fire away, gentlemen.
I really like it. I like the outfit. I think it's cool. It gives me like a Revelations vibe with the cool hood. I'm really glad to see that they actually did the hood right, because that seems to be like the main thing that people get wrong when they're making cosplay and things like that. It's rarely do people ever get the hood right, and it usually looks either way too large or way too small. Yet it seems that they probably put a lot of attention into that this time, so it looks pretty good.
I also think it looks quite good as well. It's a nice design. There's not too much going on with it. It looks like they've really thought about the origins of the outfit, like where the assassin's from, and they've tried to add bits from the area onto it.
Yeah, it gives me that Spanish vibe, because there's that across the chest. I have no idea what that would be called, but like the stripes look very like it. It looks, definitely, because like the fabric and things like that, and the color definitely looks very. It's a Revelations.
Yeah.
Well, switching things up a little bit here, I'm gonna go towards the negatives of this. First off, I mean, I like the outfit like you do, and I like the setting and everything. It would be cool if it was like a game too. Like, wasn't it 15th century, if I remember?
15th century Spain. Like that's the setting. But just to keep, actually, I just realised, keep everyone up to speed who might not be aware of the article. It's like it's going to be set in 15th century Spain. It's going to be a new characters, no rehash of Desmond or any previous stories, and Michael Fassbender is playing two roles: the modern day protagonist and the ancestor. And the modern day protagonist is called Callum Lynch, I believe, if memory serves. And yeah, that was pretty much the rough rundown of what was in the article as far as plot goes. And they gave the release date for December 21st next year.
All right, don't get me wrong. I want this movie to be good, just like everyone else. But Fox is helping make it. Fox, oh my gosh. They made Fantastic Four.
But Fox is the distributor only. This is an Ubisoft run. It's made by Ubisoft Motion Pictures, and they are like the producers. Fox is only distributing it. They get given the film, and they're the ones sending it out.
But you don't think they would have some say in it, though?
No. Well, they might have some say over the marketing of the film, but as far as the actual film itself, they won't. Because originally it was with Sony. Not too long ago, they made the deal with Sony, and then they went with Fox as the distributor. But as far as the Assassin's Creed movie goes, it is basically an independent film. It's an indie film. It's much like Assassin's Creed Lineage in that regard. You know, it's like it was made internally. Obviously, they've got external help with studios and other filmmakers and production staff, but it's an internal made product. It's made by Ubisoft and their new motion picture division, and Fox is only distributing it.
Okay, so they don't have a track record at all, right? They haven't made anything yet?
Nope.
Okay, well, see,
they made Lineage, if that counts.
Yeah, but I mean,
hybrid technologies did that, and just completely digressed. Fun fact: Assassin's Creed Lineage is technically the most expensive advert ever made, or one of. Yeah, because it was free, wasn't it? It was released online for free, so it's technically one of the most expensive adverts ever made for a video game or any kind of media.
Crazy.
Just a fun fact.
Okay,
but anyway, so sorry for cutting you off, then, Brent. Go on.
It's all right. So for big budget video game movies, I can't name a single good one yet. I don't know if it's just because we're not ready, or they're not writing, or they're not hiring the right people to write these scripts. But I can't really think of a really, really good video game movie adaptation. And with that said, Prince of Persia is the best-selling one, and that is a Ubisoft title. They didn't really have any say, and that was Disney helping them with that. But I don't know. I just get the vibe that we're still not ready for video game movies. And don't get me wrong, I really want to see it happen. Same with comic book movies. For the longest time, it was just a fail after a fail, and eventually they got it right. But I'm not sure if we're still just right for it yet. And I hope they prove me wrong, but I just can't really see it being that good.
We have a bunch of different video game movies coming out over the next 2 years. We have Ratchet and Clank, we have Warcraft, we have a bunch of them, and I think that a lot of them actually have the potential for being very good. And I think that, as you mentioned, the biggest issue with these video game movies in the past is that, the same people who made the games, who love the games, aren't the same people who are making the movie. And I think that's different here, which I think may be, I think this might mark the turning point.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope they put a lot of references in this movie for fans like us that we can catch and get. But I also would like it to kind of be simple in the way that mainstream audience can like it too, so they can get into the series as well. So you got to find that right balance, and I'm not sure if they can do that. But I mean, I hope I'm wrong.
I can think of two good video game movies: Tomb Raider and Silent Hill, and that's it.
I'll agree on Silent Hill.
Yeah. And that's the best I can think of.
That's the best. Let's face it, the standards aren't that high. Especially when you got some Super Mario Brothers, which is another guilty pleasure of mine.
I'm looking at it right now, and looking at it, I like the fact that they got a lot of elements that are recurring in the series. So the hood and the red sash, I'm interested in how they're going to build the story, considering it takes place in the 15th century, but this assassin already has like the double hidden blade. So, I'm interested in the story, and especially going towards what Brett said. I'm maybe a bit worried about the story, but at the same time, I'm confident because who made the game is also having a big control on the movie. But I'm worried about the story because most of the fans of Assassin's Creed are do like the series because of the plot and the story. So I'm worried about fans finding inconsistencies between the movie and the game. But up to now, I don't. I still think that they're going pretty well. Also with the few information that they have released. So let's see about the future.
I think the next important step is to see it in motion. If you know what I mean. It's like a frame can speak 1,000 words, but film runs at 24 frames a second. You know what I mean? So it's, once we see this thing moving, in combat, in parkour, and we get the tone of the film with a teaser trailer, I think we can definitely give a more honest judgment on the final product. But as far as the outfit goes, I think it looks great. Personally, it definitely captures maybe a bit more of a darker edge to the franchise. It looks really dark. Like, imagine seeing that thing in a corridor, like in the street alleyway coming at you. You'd crap yourself, wouldn't you? Like, oh my god, definitely capturing a bit of that horror vibe of like this guy, this thing is gonna chase you down and you are going to die, So
I really like it, and I think even just the image and Cole, you pointed out like the red sash and things like that points out how much they're sticking to the series, and this was clearly made by fans, people who love the series, and I believe you can see a sword next to him on his side as well, and you can see like maybe there's a smoke bombs or something on him as well. And I love that attention to detail, and the hood looks great. So actually, I was surprised yesterday, well, whenever this came out, whenever this news was released, I was surprised to see that I was actually more excited for the movie than I am for Syndicate. And which is surprising given that I'm not really a big movie guy. Like, I'll watch your occasional movie here and there, but I'm not a big fan of movies. I don't go to the cinema very often, but I was like super excited to see how they handle this and super excited to see more of it. I definitely think I'm very confident, especially because Ubisoft has creative control over this.
Yeah, and Fassbender's a very good actor, to be fair to him.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear that Fassbender's also a producer on it?
Well, his name was announced a lot of time ago, so I think that at least in part he was involved. I don't know if in terms of in the creative process, but maybe to give some I don't know the view of the actor, so to speak. So maybe in that way, in that regard, he participated in the production process.
And it also seems like he wants this movie to be good. Like, I mean, no one wants a bad movie, but he actually it genuinely seems like he wants this to be like a good video game movie adaptation. So, like I said, I hope it is good.
I'm very excited to see how Fassbender handles playing two different characters in one movie that are probably very different, because like, isn't Callum Lynch like Irish or something, and then we have Aguila, who's Spanish. I'll be interested to see how they handle the accents, or if they don't do it at all, things like that. I've really no idea how they're going to handle the plot, although we know the plot's very similar to AC1, but with brand new characters. So that should be interesting.
I'm interested in the present day, of course.
Yeah.
I hope that they mention like Ezio, because we know he was romping around Spain in the 15th century as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, they did say in the Twitter Q&A that anything's possible. Someone asked that question regarding will we see other characters, and they went, "Well, it's set within the universe. It's gonna be canon, so anything's possible. So we might even see a live action Ezio in there somewhere. But I think time will tell when we get a teaser trailer, and then obviously when the film's finally released.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's Pieces of Eden that I'm looking forward to seeing, like a movie version of the Pieces of Eden. How they're going to do that? Special effects. I think that'll be interesting. And the first Civ lore and everything. How they're going to show entities like Juno.
I can't wait to see Easter eggs and just references for us fans who've played the series. Just even like the smallest hint of like, one of the games. It would be really nice to see that. So they pay tribute to the fans. But I also hope it appeals to mainstream audience moviegoers as well, so they can get into this series and really learn how good the story of Assassin's Creed actually is.
Yes, most definitely. I think quite a few fans will be paying more attention. Like, for example, you guys in particular, Carl, Marco, Brett, like keeping. You're going to be getting the DVDs, and you're probably going to be spending like 2 or 3 days just combing through that film with a fine-tooth comb, finding every hint, every teaser, every egg, and doing all that content. Hey, so at least you guys are going to be busy, over Christmas next year, and when the film finally comes out, that's plenty of content for you right there. But yeah, we're going to bring that discussion to a close. That was brilliant, and I think we can all agree we like the outfit, and obviously because of the troubled times that video game adaptations have had, we're still a bit trepidatious, but what we've seen in the costume is great, and I think a teaser trailer, maybe this Christmas or early first quarter next year will be something to set our teeth into and go, yeah, I think we're on board with this. Moving on to the last and final topic of the Assassin Council discussion, which kind of ties into, the Assassin's Creed movie, or what we can expect in the Assassin's Creed movie. We have Aftermath. What's your final topic for this podcast?
So this is something that comes up on the subreddit quite a bit. I just want to know what you guys thought about spoilers. What do you guys consider a spoiler? Lots of people have different thoughts on it. Do you think that official Ubisoft sanctioned marketing can tread into that territory? Do you believe that spoilers are only things that happen like at the end of the game or a big plot twist? And like, how do you think spoilers should be dealt with in a moderation setting, or even like a just casual conversation setting?
I think you have to be very careful about spoilers when you're marketing a game, because recently I felt that Ubisoft gave too much away when it came to the Shroud of Eden. I mean, I would have preferred that to have been a secret, and then like the White Room with Lucy Fawn was all about it. I felt that was too much.
Yeah, I think that's something that's come up quite a bit. Like, some people like a healthy surprise and things that just sometimes being surprised is quite a bit more fun than the hype. Like, I think it would have taken away from it if Haytham being a playable character and then later a Templar was revealed beforehand. Yeah, I don't think that. I think that would have been just taken away from the game massively, but they kept that secret all the way up until release, which was massive and added to the game quite a bit, I think.
Definitely, yeah.
A lot of people think that, often people say things like, oh, the game's been out for 3 years or something like that, as if, like, how long something has been out and about changes how much of a spoiler it is. And I can understand because, we can't just tread around every single thing ever. And things that are really old, like Star Wars, like Darth Vader being Luke's father, is like so well known. But I don't think that spoilers should be dealt with just because and just based on how long they've been around. Like, Les Miserables has been out for 153 years. But I don't think everyone knows the ending to that, because not everyone's into that kind of thing. I think that spoilers should be based on how likely it is that everyone has seen it before or knows it. Like, basically everyone's watched Star Wars, so everyone knows, or at this point everyone knows at least, that Vader is Luke's father, and so that was that big plot twist. And I don't think that's based on how long it's been out, but that's based on, like, how ridiculously popular the series is. So, in that way, I think spoilers get a bit complicated, and I think that they should be handled a bit differently. Like, a year ago, I would have been fine just casually talking about AC3's ending without saying spoiler beforehand and stuff like that. But now I wouldn't talk about AC4's ending because AC4's ending is like so much more poignant and like it just affects you so much more. It's just such a better ending. And I feel like everyone should be able to experience that for the first time, and without first time being the first time hearing about it. I think, but with AC3's ending, while it's a big turning point in the series, I don't think it was really that poignant or amazing or a once-in-a-lifetime experience that you only get once. So I think that spoilers are really a case-by-case basis for looking back, but when you're looking forward with things like Syndicate, maybe having Evie be a protagonist would have been a fun surprise. Yeah. Even if she's like plays a slightly more minor role than Jacob. Yeah, it's all very, very complicated. I just want to know what you guys think about it. Like, here's a good example. Assassin's Creed Unity, they released a story trailer, and I didn't actually watch it because I knew that it would have story reveals. It would reveal some aspects of the story, and I did watch it after I finished the game, and I'm so glad I didn't. And I think that basically everyone's in a consensus that the story trailer actually hurt the game more than helping the marketing for it. So, what do you guys think?
Just to come in, I just want to say this. Like, this ties into Unity because I've just remembered this before we hear from Marco and Brett. You talk about the story trailer, how it could have spoiled. I had the entire game spoiled for me before I even played it.
So did I.
Me too.
It's ridiculous.
Because I had it spoiled for me before. I had it done in the worst way though. It was spoiled to me by Ubisoft.
Oh no!
What?
You see, I got a review copy of the game, and I had it for just under a week before the game launched as an enthusiast YouTuber. So I got sent the review copy, and when I got sent the review, I got sent an email, like a PDF, and here's the date where we want you to upload it, or you can't upload it to all this date, the basic legal stuff. And I scrolled down the PDF just to see if there was any other little extra details, and I scrolled down too far to the point where on the PDF, it actually says the spoilers in the game, that specifically what I'm not allowed to talk about. And right above it, it said in big black writing, and it was so cruel. It said, if you haven't played the game yet, don't read the next paragraph.
Oh, wow.
And it said everything from Bellic trying to kill you, and you kill Bellic, Evie's fate, everything. I knew everything that was going to happen before I even put in the disc to review it.
That sucks.
Sorry, I just remembered that, and I had to share that. I don't think I've ever actually told that story at all, not even in one of my own videos. So yeah, I just had to share that. Anyway, back on point with what you guys think of spoilers. Brett, Marco, any thoughts on spoilers? When should there be a deadline on spoilers, or should it be based on kind of pop culture like Star Wars, or what things would you have liked to have not been spoiled in previous AC marketing?
Well, for me personally, it's going back to like Syndicate and what Aftermath said. This is more like of a surprise than more of a spoiler, but like I would have liked to not known that Evie was even in this game, and like it just would have been a total surprise, just like with Hatham was in Assassin's Creed 3. I think it just would have I don't know, surprised a lot of people. They really would have enjoyed that. I get why they're marketing it, because so many people like her as a character already and just want to get to play as her. But imagine like if they didn't even tell anyone about it, and most people thought this game was just Jacob, and then when you start playing it, then there's Evie, and you see all these different skills she has. I think that would have been a nice surprise. And as far as like spoilers go, because that really isn't a spoiler, but it's like a surprise, so it's kind of hard to draw that line. But yeah, I get what Aftermath was also saying about story trailers and how they do reveal some information about them. And it sucks for me because, I had to do like a breakdown of it. And yeah, so I always get spoiled ahead of time. But yeah. I don't know. I get why they do it. and some people do like them and like to watch it just to know what the story is kind of about. But at just another point, it's like you can see how that's spoiling the game for many people. So I don't know where to actually draw that line. It just depends on you, the person, and you don't have to watch any of these trailers if you don't want to. A lot of people do that. They don't want to know any information. They just want to buy it. So it just depends on whoever you are and like what you like to know about the game before release.
As you can say, I know people that drop off the grid on the run up to the game like a month in advance. They'll turn all their like phones off and everything, and they don't want to read anything about the game in case it gives too much away.
Yeah, I definitely, in the past few years, I've actually done something similar to that, like a self-imposed exile from the online community, like unfollowing basically everything on Twitter and all that stuff. But I really don't have that option this year because I'm a mod on the subreddit and I have to be here. And yeah, you know from experience that you're basically guaranteed to be spoiled because you're here to make it sure no one else does. So you have to remove the comments which spoil stuff because people usually get the games early or read somewhere or someone breaks embargo. And so I'm basically guaranteed to be spoiled, which is just great.
Brett, you mentioned the balance between spoiler and surprise, and I agree with you. I think Eevee should have been kept under wraps. Do you think the reveal of Eevee was based on in case of the fear of it getting leaked, or was it really just a clear announcement based on the complaints that people had with Unity not having a playable female protagonist? Do you really think announcing Eevee was like one of the things that they had to do to answer those Unity concerns with female players, or do you think it was like a leak fearing concern?
I think it was pretty intentional, like exactly what you said. I think that, with Unity, there were a lot of complaints about the absence of the female characters without knowing about Elise. So I think there were a lot of complaints before even knowing about the game. So there was some backlash which wasn't even needed because later on Elise was presented, but at the same time I still think that with how Unity with all the issues that happened at the release with Unity and the opinion of the fans, a lot of fans even dropping the series or being more cautious about the series. I think that Eevee was presented even to not only to appeal to the fans but also to this I think that Eevee is one of the major appealing elements of the game. So I think that now they needed to get back to the fans. So this was like one of the major points for Syndicate. So I think that was intentional. Keeping her as a surprise, it would have been a cool thing for the people that would have bought the game, but at the same time, it wouldn't have drawn fans towards the game during the marketing campaign. So
there wouldn't have been as many pre-orders for certain.
Yeah, exactly. Or even just even the sales.
If you think it was obviously a smart idea to announce Eevee as a playable character and then based on pre-orders and potential sales,
yes.
But why do anything for Jacob at all? Why not just make Eevee the main protagonist then?
That's a nice question. I think that at the same time, with Unity, the major new element was the co-op. And this time, I think that they decided that the major element was the twins and the playable twins. So by putting only Eevee, it would have been a nice surprise to have like a female lead on the main console game. But at the same time, some other fans maybe who are more accustomed to the male lead may have not liked the idea. I don't know. I would have bought the game anyway because I'm more interested in Evie because she's this new character and with new facets of a character, while Jacob is much similar to a previous character like maybe Ezio or Edward. So yeah, I think that this time the new element, the new core element is the playable twins. So having just Evie, I don't know if it could have been a nice choice, at least in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think.
I think they're really going for a balance with the twins. I mean, the polar opposites of each other, the twins. So I think that's what interests people because they're going to bounce off each other and they're going to have conflicts throughout the game. So I think the relationship between them will be very interesting.
Brett, what do you think? Because you do a lot of video coverage, and as well as Marco, like you have to sit there and you have to watch all these videos to do your news coverage and produce your videos. Like, have you had anything spoiled from you doing those deeper research videos and that content?
Yeah, definitely all the time, especially, like a couple days before release because people end up getting it early and then they'll comment on like one of my videos and I do read like all my comments. So they'll say like the ending or something and that's how it happens. And like the last one for me was Rogue and it was actually on Twitter and someone like posted a picture of Arno and Elise like in Rogue playing around like as kids.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, that burns.
Yeah, I know. So like I saw that a couple days before and I was just like, oh my gosh, really? Like, so I already knew what was going to happen in Rogue and it's just like, wow, I really wish that didn't happen, but it just comes with like what we do because we do try to find a lot of the information about the game before release and, just stuff happens and people just want to spoil it for others. So in a way it sucks for me, but I'm glad that I can prevent other people from seeing it. Like if they go on my videos and look at comments, I'm glad that I can remove it. And I'm glad it's just me and not all these other people. So, it just happens with everyone, I guess, who does this.
Well, for me, I just started Unity. Like, I just got to the point where I found out that Arno's dad had been killed, and then someone sent me a nice screenshot of Shay stabbing Arno's dad.
Oh!
I was thinking, thanks for that, you're getting a ban for a year.
Oh, no.
I was so annoyed when that was sent to me. I wanted to play Rogue after.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I've actually been pretty lucky for the most part. I think that I read on a YouTube comment that Desmond dies in AC3, but that didn't really change the experience to me too much because I, kind of just assumed the guy was lying.
I think most people saw that coming, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think most people who had like followed that modern day story arc deeply kind of knew it was coming.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm pretty choosy about what kind of marketing things I watched, like the Rift trailer from ACU. I didn't watch that, and that was a fun surprise. I really enjoyed that. So that was actually quite lucky that I didn't go near that. And there wasn't really much to spoil in Unity aside from Elisa's fate. So I think I've actually been pretty good for the most part, other than I think in Rogue's marketing, just the mention and the showcase of Adewale being in the game, it all kind of confirmed that we were going to kill him, which sucks.
Yeah.
Marco, access the Animus. What's your worst or biggest number one worst spoiler moment in the Assassin's Creed?
It happened to me before we created Access the Animus. I think I was spoiled. I was told or I read on the internet that Mario Auditore was killed by Cesare Borgia.
Oh.
And that was bad too. And the good thing was that it was in the beginning of the game, so it wasn't that bad, but I still hated it. But after that, I think I was pretty lucky. I mean, before the last the last week or last 2 weeks before release, when we go deep into the interviews and news all around, everything that we find, apart from leaks, of course, everything that we find was meant to be released by Ubisoft in a way or another. So going back to what Colin said, all the information about the Shroud of Eden for Syndicate, they were meant to be released. So in a way, I don't know if I mean, it's something that was that they meant us to know in a way or another. So what we get to know and to share with the fans before the last 2 weeks is, I think, it's everything that is intended for the community to know. While what happens in the last 2 weeks before launch, well, that's where the single person that gets his or her hands on the game, that's where they come into play. So it's not always just Ubisoft's decision, and that's where it's more difficult for us.
Just to make a point on that Shroud of Eden, it's like, yes, we know it's coming, but at least they haven't shown it, or we haven't seen it in action. But we haven't seen the powers of it. We don't know what it looks like. We just know it's there. It's a tease, and they only said it in the one line of dialogue during the demo, where it's like, the Shroud of Eden, bang, said once. I think it said again in the cutscene, but at least we don't get to see it. We don't know where it is, what it looks like, and what it does.
I agree with that. That's a teaser. That's intended, and that's why when the first information from Gamescom about the Shroud came out, I think that the internet exploded in a way. I mean, at least the AC fandom on the internet, they got crazy.
It did.
Yeah. And I personally went crazy when I tested it for the first time at Gamescom, and what did they just say Shroud? And so this kind of teasers are nice. I do like those. While what happens in the last 2 weeks and in the weeks afterwards, you guys, I think you know when you read the comments on your on your social outlet, like being it YouTube or Facebook page, you have to read them with one eye closed and trying not to read completely. So it's kind of difficult, but as Brett said, at least we try to avoid other fans to get the spoiler. So in a way, it's a nice thing that we try to do.
I've introduced a spoiler ban on my page recently. So anything I deem to be a spoiler that's going to ruin for anyone else, I will contact them and tell them that if it's done again, it will become a ban, and then I'd set a time limit depending on what's being said.
I was just going to say that we do kind of the same, every year after the release and 2 weeks prior to the release, we try to have a complete no spoiler page. So we use all the filters for Facebook to try and avoid all the sensible words, like nobody can post comments with Juno or First Civilization or stuff like that. So we try to have moderation with that too, especially after the release.
That's good.
Yeah, and I have that actually for YouTube as well, where you can put in words where people if they comment it just goes straight to spam, and my words are dies and this happens or whatever. So I have that too on my videos.
Is there something like that on Reddit too, Aftermath?
There is AutoMod who would be able to tell us, who would be able to just remove things with certain words, but it's not very thorough, and so we would need to basically it's like the duty of the moderator and like the moderator's sacrifice to take the spoilers so that everyone else on the Reddit doesn't have to.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the final lesson. We might get spoiled, but we'll try and make sure other people don't at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And we are all out of time for this Assassin's Creed Council Community Podcast. It's been a wonderful experience having you guys on board. Thank you so much for coming. And obviously, credit where credit's due. Aftermath, where can the lovely viewers find you?
You can listen to the Animus Island podcast at youtube.com/Animus Island, I believe, or you can find us on iTunes as the Animus Island podcast. I'm also basically everywhere on social media as Aftermath1231.
Cole, where can everyone find you?
You can find me under the name The Ones Again Before on Facebook, Twitter, Weebly, YouTube, and Instagram. And you can find my personal profile on Twitter under Colt_96.
Brett, aka UbiCentral, where can everyone find you, good sir?
You can find me on YouTube. My channel name is UbiCentral, and you can follow me on Twitter. My name is UbiCentral there as well.
And last but not least, Marco, good sir, where can everyone find your brilliant and awesome team?
So you can find us at on Twitter, on Facebook with Access the Animus, so twitter.com/Access the Animus and facebook.com/Access the Animus. YouTube is youtube.com/Access Animus because someone already got that account. And you can find our site on accesstheanimus.com. My personal profile on Twitter is shadow_Marcus, MARKUZ.
And if you're having any trouble spelling or finding them, you can hit the links in the description, and all of their Twitter handles will be presented on screen throughout the course of this video, as you've most likely been able to tell. I would like to give a very, very big thank you to every single one of you. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. I hope you've enjoyed it. Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, it was kind of fun.
We love you.
Fantastic.
I enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, it melts my heart, Brett. Oh, I love you too. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave your opinions in the comments below. If you have any opinions based on the topics that we've discussed, leave them down in the comments below. I really do want to know. Anyway, until the next one, take care and be safe. We love you all, Assassins. Win out. Peace.